So today I'm going to talk about the online version of thrift stores, or as the Brits call them, the charity shops. So Goodwill is probably the biggest so-called chain of such stores in the United States. There's one in hometown and in most of the other larger towns or cities I go to. And of course, the findings, if you're looking for music, in terms of the quantity and especially the quality of vinyl, CDs, music media, can be rather questionable. Now, if you get lucky, you get there right after they've put out some new merchandise. Sometimes you can score good records for as little as $1, but usually the fare you're going to find is going to be limited to sort of those stereotypical easy listening classic country, gospel, old classical records, etc. Sam the Vinyl Douche has a rather infamous video there where he visited about 20 such Goodwill stores in the Phoenix metro area, and he found very little worth buying. I seem to remember that the first store he went to was the best. And another problem is that some of the Goodwills are basically hip to the vinyl revival, and a lot of them will actually charge higher prices for vinyl records, or if they have titles that they know are actually desirable. And then another thing that they've done is selling some of their records online rather than in person in their brick and mortar stores. I've become aware of 2 different online platforms that sell these donated items for various Goodwills throughout the country. I think sort of their idea is that they can get higher prices by casting their net wider to people throughout the nation rather than just shoppers in the local area, particularly for more desirable donations, so nicer clothing, relatively new household goods, or media that might actually be collectible, desirable. One platform that I've known about for at least a year is called shopgoodwill.com, and it's an eBay-style auction platform. And another that I've become recently aware of is goodwillfinds.com, which is a buy-it-now platform rather than one where you have to bid for goods. So you can see some of the various lots of records that they have here. You can see the current price. You can see how many bids have been made so far, if any. Then when you click on, you can get a little bit more information. So here's 10 mixed vinyl records, untested, current price $9.99. And you can see that this particular lot, and I see you got like the Anne Murray here. And so I'm looking for maybe a more interesting lot of records here. Let's see what I get interested in. There's looks like some Jeff Beck in that one. Okay, so this was probably the best lot of records I saw. So an 80 vinyl records lot. There's already been like 22 bids made. You can see the price is $260. I mean, you're seeing a bunch of Prince records, Fine Young Cannibals, Beastie Boys, The Cure. Even though it's that crappy Cure album, it's still, you can see that this is actually a very desirable lot. They knew not to put these out on the floor for $1. It's Love and Rockets. And of course, one of the problems is when you see a lot this good, well, lots of people are interested in it. You can see there's already been 22 bids made, and with still time to go. Let's see what else we can find here. So, okay, so this is like a 78 RPM carrying case for 10-inch records, which I guess could potentially be cool if you were a 10-inch record collector and the like. All right, so keep on looking for some 45 RPM records. I typed that into the chat box. So here's one of those Caliphones, those old school turntables. I remember like schools used to have them. Mac from I Buy Old Records was a fan of the Caliphones. I'm just looking out of curiosity here. I'm not really going to get one. I have no idea if it works. There's some pretty undesirable looking 45s here, and the prices aren't good. So you can see this one, Perry Como and Neil Sedaka is who they're bragging about, is in this lot. I can't tell how many records are in, whether they're showing you front side, back side, but I don't really care because I don't want them anyway. Oh, let's find something better. Oh, this is not better. I mean, look at how terribly scratched these records are just in the picture. It's like, I don't want to pay $5.99 plus shipping and handling for records I'm just going to have to throw away. I don't even understand why they bothered putting this up. This stuff should just be in the garbage. Shipping estimated on your location, handling price $3.99. Yeah, that's a big pass for me. Now here you've got one of those cool old school carrying cases for the 45s. People have actually bid on this. It's up to $32.99 right now. And are there records inside? Yes, there are records inside. I don't know if you can tell. The top record is the Suite. I have no idea what other records are there. I'm assuming it's probably a pretty lame assortment of records. If it was a little bit cheaper, it might be interesting just for that carrying case. And then this seller is doing the 1 cent shipping. Of course, handling is $4.99. So it's really $5. And then they're trying to sell individual, extremely common records like Pat Benatar for $10 plus 1 cent, $9.99 plus 1 cent plus $4.99. So it would be like $15. And there's a bunch of other single 45 RPMs that are the same deal. This is a complete rip-off. Okay, so now I've switched over to the GoodwillFinds.com website. So this is a buy it now. You can see they're bragging about top brands. Look at these people wearing stylish clothes. You're going, I never see these sorts of clothes in the thrift stores and charity shops. Your favorite brands under $25. Vintage finds. Look at that slick Yamaha windbreaker. Collectibles. And then I went to vinyl records, searched 225 hits. Let's look at a few of these hits. Remember, this is going to be this is not a bidding site. This is a buy it now site. So let's look at the first record, this Sealed Winter Wonderland on Demon Records. I looked it up. This is actually a reissue of a bunch of like old school Christmas songs. So you can see it's being sold by the Goodwill of Southeastern Wisconsin and Metro Chicago e-commerce. Now you don't get told how much the shipping and handling is on this site, so that's a little bit worrisome. I'd have to really want something and think the price was a deal to want to get it. Let's look to see what other sort of merchandise they have. So, yeah, I'm looking for something else to look at here. All right, we got this Matthew Wilder vinyl record. It used to be $19.99, but now it's $15.99, so 20% off. That still seems like a lot for something that seems like it's a pretty common record. It seems like it should be maybe a $5 record or a $3 record, not a $16 record. And it used fair. Is that fair in the gold mine standards, in which price the $16 would really be a ripoff? Or is it just somebody making up a word? Nobody knows. May show wear and tear from previous use. So, and you don't actually see what the record looks like, so you have no idea how accurate or not. I was curious to see if the shipping was going to pop up here if I put it in my cart, but it didn't, so I'm just going to remove this item. There's that Adele record. So in case you can't find it at your local Walmart, you can find it at GoodwillFinds.com. There's The Who, there's Willie Nelson, lots of vintage records. And let's see what else. Oh, they have some of those box sets of like classical music here that always seem to be like $1 or $2. So I don't know why I want to spend a lot more than $1 or $2 on it. Jimmy Cliff and Calypso records. Looking at it for no apparent reason here. So, yeah. It's also used fair condition, whatever that means. And again, I briefly put it in my, let's go to secure checkout. I'd have to sign in. I don't actually have an account here yet. I don't want to risk actually buying this. So I'm just going to move on. And so you can see it's pretty similar to the other place, except you're not bidding on records in an eBay style. You're just, if you like the price, you buy them. The Franklin Mintz Record Society Classical Records lot. Lot of Barbara Streisand records, Hawaiian music records. There's a Frank Sinatra gold-plated record for $80. Limited edition. Number something out of 5,000. 537 out of 5,000. So if you always wanted a Frank Sinatra gold record, they've got it here. So I feel like I should be looking for some 45 RPM records. Well, we'll try typing that into the search box. Okay, we got 6 results. We got expensive children's record. We got bundle of 26 vintage records. This looked mostly like pretty standard 80s stuff in picture sleeves. They've wanted 195 and everybody laughed, and I've cut it to 117. I'm still laughing. So you can see I'm not really buying anything today. This is by Goodwill of Colorado. Records untested as is. Caveat emptor. So as you see, I didn't buy anything today. If you're wondering if these sites are worth it, and I've actually never bought anything from either of these online Goodwill platforms. The obvious problems is that you have to pay the shipping and handling on top of whatever price the stuff is. You've seen that the grading is very haphazard. What do these words good, fair, excellent really mean in these situations? It seems like they're just random words that people are pulling out of thin air, not based on gold mine standards at all. You are buying the stuff as is. I know a lot of the stuff you find in Goodwill in person is in pretty thrash condition. At least when you're buying on Discogs, people at least sort of use gold mine standards. I know, of course, some people overgrade. You can see feedback from previous customers. You do have the opportunity to ask the sellers questions before buying something. A chance to communicate with your seller if there's a problem, to get an issue dealt with. On the auction site, it seems like any desirable album or lot of records is going to get bid up beyond a point that you would really want to pay for these records, especially in an unseen condition. And pretty much everything else that isn't bid on is either completely undesirable, it's silly overpriced, or it's a combination of undesirable and overpriced. On the Buy It Now site, I wasn't able to find the shipping handling prices at all. I'm sure they exist. Everything I saw, I would say, is either overpriced or something that's completely unwanted. I guess in theory you could find some deals if you're lucky enough to be the first one to see it. Sort of like, oh, I found Led Zeppelin 2 at the Goodwill because I happened to be there 4 seconds after it was put on the floor. But presumably you're having even more eyes looking over this merchandise when it's on a website than in your local brick and mortar thrift store, and somebody's bound to recognize stuff that's underpriced, rare, or desirable. So I can't say I really recommend these sites, and I doubt I'll be spending much, if any, more of my time and any of my money on them in the future.